SpongeBob SquarePants Mysteries, Ooze in the Ocean. Chapter 1. The name SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. Maybe you've heard of me, maybe you haven't. Maybe you don't get out much. But if you do, chances are you've heard about the work I do. No, not serving up delicious Krabby Patties at the Krusty Krab. Sure, I do that too, and I love it. I was born to fry and flip, but every now and then, when trouble brews, I put on my old trench coat and brown fedora hat and start digging up clues. Talking to witnesses, solving mysteries, catching bad guys. Yeah, you guessed it. I walk the mean streets of Bikini Bottom as SpongeBob SquarePants, detective. I'm a fry cook and a private eye, so sue me. Some detectives work alone. Not me. I need a partner, someone I can talk to. Help shake the ideas out of my noggin. Someone who's got my back when the going gets tough. And brother, it always gets tough. Tougher than a math problem written upside down in invisible ink. On the caper I'm about to describe, I had the best partner a private eye could ever hope for. Brave, strong, and true pink. But when we started out that day, we had no idea we were about to take on a deadly, dangerous case. We thought we were just going to go visit a couple of heroes. Bam, 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 bam! Very early in the morning, SpongeBob knocked on his best friend's rock home. Patrick, come on, hurry up! We're going to be late! Spoing! The boulder flipped up on its hinge with Patrick attached to its underside, still in his pajamas. They were green with purple flowers, just like the shorts he wore during the day. On his head he sported a green nightcap with purple pom-poms with a purple pom-pom on the end. Patrick hopped down off the big stone and stretched, yawning. Oh, relax, SpongeBob, he reassured his pal. We've got plenty of time. No way we'll be late. Then he paused, cocked his head, and thought hard. Late for what? Merry Man and Barnacle Boy Fan Day! SpongeBob said, leaping into the air with enthusiasm. How could you possibly forget that? It's one of the best days in the whole entire year! Like your birthday, Christmas, and Leif Erikson Day combined! Patrick smiled, trying to look as though he'd known all the time. Forget? I didn't forget, he claimed. I was just testing you. And I'm happy to say you passed the test with flying colors. He quickly changed from his pajamas into his shorts. Thanks, Patrick. Way to keep me on my toes, SpongeBob exclaimed, always happy to pass with flying colors. Now let's go. I'll race you. Last one to the Shady Shoals rest home is a run fan. The two pals took off running as fast as their sea legs could carry them. Soon their feet were churning like swirling waves of water in a whirlpool, carrying them across Bikini Bottom to the Shady Shoals rest home. When they got to the residence, they both collapsed on the wooden ramp leading to its front door. I win! Patrick gasped. Me too! SpongeBob wheezed, breathing hard. Right, Patrick managed to say. We both won. I think that's called a tie, SpongeBob said, still panting. I thought a tie was something you wear around your neck, Patrick replied. Getting to his feet, SpongeBob looked around. Huh, he mused. Where are all the other Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy fans? They must be the first ones here. Patrick still lay flat on his back. Is there a prize for that? Knock, knock, knock. SpongeBob pounded on the front door. After a moment, it swung open and an employee peered out. He'd been on duty at the home all night and was just about to finish his shift. "Cut it out with all the loud knocking," he growled. "You'll wake the residents." "Merry Merryman and Barnacle Boy Fan Day, good sir," SpongeBob said cheerfully. "Have the festivities already begun?" He checked the employee's name tag. "Brian?" Brian looked confused. "Festivities? What festivities?" SpongeBob whipped out a flyer. "The entrance of the heroes! The Ask an Idol question and answer session! The avalanche of autographs!" "And ice cream," Patrick added. "Lots of ice cream!" "Let me see that," Brian demanded. He snatched the flyer out of SpongeBob's hands and looked it over. "This doesn't say anything about ice cream." "No ice cream?" Patrick said sadly. "Well, I guess we'll just have to eat our cake without it." Without missing a beat, Patrick pulled a smooshed cake on a plate out of his shorts. "But it does state very clearly," Brian continued, waving the flyer in their faces, "that today's celebration of Merman and Barnacle Boy Fan Day doesn't begin until 10 a.m. "You're 5 hours early!" He tossed the flyer back at them, stormed inside, and slammed the door behind him. Wham! SpongeBob and Patrick settled in to wait for the festivities to begin. Pumping his clenched hands, SpongeBob said, "This is so exciting!" "Yeah," Patrick agreed, raising his fist in the air. 3 seconds later, he announced, "I'm bored. Tell me a story." Thinking a story was a splendid way to pass the time, SpongeBob asked, "What kind of story would you like to hear?" Let's see," Patrick said, furrowing his brow. "Oh, I know! Tell me again about the time I was missing and you found me." SpongeBob smiled. "Sure, buddy." He proceeded to tell Patrick, now eating his smushed cake, the tale of how he went missing and how SpongeBob and Squidward became hard-boiled private detectives to find him. 5 hours later, when SpongeBob's long, detailed account was finished, Patrick sighed. "Oh, wow!" he sighed. "I wish I could be a detective or even a detective's partner." Other fans of Merman and Barnacle Boy had arrived, lining up behind SpongeBob and Patrick and impatiently waiting for the manager of the Shady Show's restaurant to open the doors of the senior citizens resident and let them in. At the stroke of 10 o'clock, Miss Halibut, the manager, flung the front doors wide open and exclaimed, "Merry Merman and Barnacle Boy Fan Day!" "Merry Merman and Barnacle Boy Fan Day!" SpongeBob, Patrick, and the other fans all shouted in joyful unison. "Please come on in," Miss Halibut invited, gesturing inside. "The festivities are officially beginning." "Yay!" SpongeBob and Patrick cheered. "Festivities!" The two amigos sprinted inside, followed by the other fans. Signs guided them past the front lobby and into the main room. A banner reading, "Welcome Merman and Barnacle Boy fans," hung across an arch. Furniture had been pushed against the walls to make room for the crowd. On a low platform, 2 rocking chairs with soft cushions and 2 desks awaited the arrival of the day's guest of honor. "Look, Patrick!" SpongeBob said in awe. "That's where they'll sit! On those very chairs behind those very desks!" "Wow!" Patrick said, amazed. "Desks!" Miss Halibut stepped up onto the platform to address the fans. "Are you ready for the entrance of the heroes?" "Yes!" the fans screamed, jumping up and down and pumping their fins in the air. "Then please give a warm welcome to everyone's favorite aquatic enemies of evil," she continued, starting a recording of heroic theme music. "Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy!" The fans all cheered, whistled, and whooped, stomping their feet and clapping their hands. "Woohoo! Yay!" SpongeBob could barely contain his excitement. He turned to Patrick and said, "This is going to be so great!" Patrick nodded. "You know it, buddy!" Miss Halibut turned toward an open doorway and nothing happened. Looking slightly embarrassed, the manager repeated, this time a little louder, "Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy!" From behind the door, the fans could hear Barnacle Boy say, That's our cue, you old coot! Coot for what, Kyle? They all heard Mermaid Man ask. Breakfast? I'd like the oatmeal, please, with extra raisins. Not too hot, my tongue is super sensitive. No, the cue for our big entrance, Barnacle Boy explained. For Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy Fan Day? Ooh, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy? Mermaid Man gushed. I've always wanted to meet them. Where, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, remember? Now get out there, Barnacle Boy said sharply. And try not to trip over your fuzzy pink slippers. Mermaid Man stumbled through the doorway looking as though he'd been pushed. When he saw all the fans, he perked up right away. Hi, kids, he sang out waving. Hi, Mermaid Man, the fans all yelled. A small boy fish dressed as Mermaid Man rushed forward with a pencil and a pad of paper. Can I get your autograph? Can I get your autograph? Please, give me your autograph! Oh, why won't you give me your autograph? Miss Hellebuck stepped between the overly enthusiastic fan and the two elderly superheroes. There will be plenty of time for that at the avalanche of autographs, but first, it's time for the Ask an Idol question and answer session. Who's got a question from Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy? A forest of hands shot up. Every fan in the room had a question for their heroes. In fact, most of them had dozens of questions. Getting the crowd, Miss Hellebuck pointed at a small girl fish wearing glasses. Yes, you, in the front row. The little girl lowered her hand. Mermaid Man smiled at her as he settled in behind one of the desks. What's your question, honey? Would you like to know my favorite color? In a high-pitched voice, the girl asked, Is the atomic flounder's radioactive breath a result of nuclear fusion or nuclear fission? Blinking, Mermaid Man just sat there for a moment. Then he answered, Purple, although I also like blue. Patrick waved both arms wildly. Oh, me, call on me! Sighing, Miss Hellebuck pointed at Patrick. Yes? She asked. What is your question? Thank you, Patrick said, pulling a small notepad out of his pocket and reading from it. My question is for Barnacle Boy. The sidekick perked up. Really? Gee, nobody ever asked me questions. They always just want to hear from you, Mermaid Man. Please, fire away, Patrick. What's it like being the crime-fighting partner to the greatest superhero in the history of the world? Patrick asked breathlessly. Is it the most exciting job of the sea? A thrill? A minute? Do you wake up every morning feeling honored and inspired? Great question, SpongeBob whispered to Patrick. Thanks, Patrick whispered back. Well, Barnacle Boy said, stroking his chin, it's not easy. You've got to know your stuff. You've got to back your partner up even when he seems to have no idea what he's doing. If it goes wrong, which he will, you've got to steer him back to the right course. You've got to keep your eye on him at all times. And if you make a mistake, well, your whole partnership could be over just like that. Barnacle Boy made several attempts at snapping his fingers, eventually managing a small, feeble snap. Wow, Patrick thought to himself. It's not easy being a crime-fighting partner. So much could go wrong. SpongeBob was a little surprised by Barnacle Boy's answer. He made being Mermaid Man's sidekick sound a lot like being some kind of babysitter. He wanted to ask a follow-up question, but Miss Hellebuck was already looking to the audience, moving her fin back and forth. Let's see, she said. Who else has the question for... A low voice came from the back of the group. Whatever happened to the evil mobile? SpongeBob looked around, but he couldn't see who had asked the question. The what? Mermaid Man asked, confused. The evil mobile, Barnacle Boy repeated to his partner. Very sleek, very fast, loaded with all the latest gadgets and doodads, but totally illegal. Years ago, we confiscated it from the dirty bubble, the atomic flounder, man ray, jumbo shrimp, and the sinister slug. Oh, right, Mermaid Man said, nodding. Was it blue or purple? I like those colors a lot. Also orange and green and chartreuse Ignoring his partner's wondering thoughts on favorite colors, Barnacle Boy addressed the fans. The current location of the Evilmobile, he announced, is strictly classified. It is? Merman Man asked. I thought it was in the Mermalair. Barnacle Boy slapped his palm to his face in frustration. Ugh, see what I mean about being a sidekick? Barnacle Boy complained. Not easy. Patrick nodded, taking it all in. Suddenly, an elderly resident with a long gray beard shuffled into the room, looking upset. Miss Hullabut! He cried. Miss Hullabut! What is it, Roy? She asked. He pointed his cane toward the rest home's backyard. Out in the yard! Our yard! It's happened again! Mysterious green trails in the sand! Whew, stay tuned for chapter 2, coming up soon.